we got it. I think we got it. Yep. We have a go live. What is going on, everybody? It's that time again. It's Wednesday night. It's time to blow that smoke, talk some trash, and at least try to screw our heads on straight, especially with all the craziness that is taking place right now on the internet. Like there's no debate right now. Obviously, there is a lot of craziness going on with some of the decisions that Xbox has just made. Um, we'll get into that in a second, but let's just let's just have some fun. What's up, Mickey? How you been?
What's up? Been doing all
So,
right, just gaming and hanging out.
right, that's pretty much all I have been doing myself.
That's all we've
Uh,
been doing.
I know, right? And that's the hilarious part about this whole situation. Is I have been playing Star Wars the oh my gosh. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. When you play a game from the original Xbox OG, it sometimes makes you go, "Oh my god. How did we play games like this back in the day?" But at the same time, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic happens to be the like the premier Star Wars RPG. Thank you,
That's what I
Yobi.
heard too.
Definitely thank you, Yobi, for sharing it out. Welcome. We're just getting stuff started. We're just kind of like talking about what we've been gaming. And I went down a deep, dark rabbit hole for May the 4th, the whole May the 4th be with you thing. I've been watching a grip of Star Wars stuff. I went and saw The Phantom Menace, the 25th anniversary, Sunday night in theaters. My wife joined me, and as she was walking out of the theaters, she like because my wife is not a Star Wars fan like I am. She looked right at me and was like, "I need to know what happens next." And I'm like, "Oh, please, yes, let's go down this rabbit hole." Um, Also, footnote, everybody. Um, if I sound like I'm slurring or talking with a mouthful, I got some dental work done. Had a needle shoved straight to the jaw, so definitely a little bit swollen. So if I sound a little bit crazy, that's why. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing Knights of the Old Republic with you know Mickey here as we party chat, and just I mean, yes, the game plays so smooth. I remember back in the day, the loading screen, like literally Knights of the Old Republic broke an OG Xbox that I had of mine. Uh, I would have went so. Hey, man, dude, it kind of was Yobi. It was fun going to go see the Phantom Menace because I remember when I saw that movie when I was 12 years old in theaters, and there was like some dramatic circumstances around me seeing it. So this was like a redo around that whole situation, which I was totally glad to be there in the theater. And there was actually a great turnout. And what shocked the absolute shit out of me was as I walk in the theater, you've got your popcorn, your drinks, and everything. My wife is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go use the restroom before the movie starts." As she leaves the room, some guy down in the front row that's right in front of me is like, "Is this movie any good?" And you just turn around and look at him like, "What did you say? Is this movie any good?" And I had to like look at him for a second and be like, "Have you not seen the Phantom Menace before?" And he literally without missing a beat, "No, I haven't." Okay. Well, there's going to be some people that were critics, but I'm just going to say it right now. The pod racing scene with all the bass, the noise, and all the excitement, you trust me, you're going to have a lot of fun. At least I did. And yeah, definitely. It was everything I remember from back when I was 12 years old. Yeah, good old Darth, dude. I still feel like, you know what? I'm one of those that has a picket sign that says Darth Maul didn't get a good chance. Um, I wish they would have dug deeper in the Darth Maul story. But
hmm
going
Yeah, he
back,
didn't have enough. He didn't have enough in that movie. He didn't have
he
enough
got
play.
like a fairer take in the show Star Wars: The Clone Wars when they brought him back and they added more to his story and he had the robotic legs. And it's like they tried to dabble a little bit in another Star Wars movie. Did you see Solo?
No.
Watch Solo, dude. So, they like, see, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to be like, dude, right here, live, spoilers. Nah, just watch Solo. It's on my Voodoo.
Okay. All
Just so
right.
everybody knows, me and this dude share a Voodoo account. Anyways, so the guy in the front of the theater had never seen the Phantom Menace before. I really thought for a second I was in an episode of the Twilight Zone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know it's a lot of doom and gloom, but I'm going to warn you guys right now. If you're coming here looking for doom and gloom, you ain't going to find it. When we get into that subject later, it's kind of funny just to throw it out there, but apparently if you hate on Xbox, you're an asshole. If you defend Xbox, you're a mediocre kind of person that apparently defends mediocrity, or however, your favorite influencers like to call it. So it kind of turns into you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, which is absolute BS. I make my own damn opinions, and I don't need somebody to sit there and try to tell me mine is wrong. What's up, Blue? Thank you for checking us out. As always, Blue hangs out with me and Mickey every night playing Tiny
Whatever it
Tina's
is we play,
Wonderlands.
right? Yeah, we've been playing Tiny Tina's lately.
Right.
So, but whenever we play, Blue will play with us, hang with
Right.
us and stuff. So,
but going back, for those who have not played an OG Xbox game on an Xbox Series X, like Yobi pointed out, the fact KOTOR plays so damn good on the newer hardware. Thank God that game is backwards compatible, because I remembered that game actually broke. That's how I knew that my Xbox console was breaking, because the moment in the very beginning of the game, the first cutscene, when you see all the life pods starting to launch off of the ship that you're getting off of, but to just basically start the game, it would freeze up. And I was so pissed. And yeah, apparently there was like a hard drive processor issue with the Xbox that I had to go get a new Xbox just to play Knights of the Old Republic. And that's why I am so grateful that I have to deal with that now. Loading screens are hella quick. The only thing that throws me off is that 4x3 letterbox. Thank God I'm one of those that know how to adjust the custom picture on your TV to spread it the rest of the way out and stretch it out and make the characters and all the icons look fat. But that's another story. But enough about me. What you been playing, Mickey?
Tiny Tina's and a little bit of ESO, but mainly Tiny Tina's. That's what I've been really putting my time into. Dude. And this headset's about to get freaking a Macho Man elbow and a Hulk Hogan leg drop here in a second, because it's starting to drive me nuts.
So for those that actually like to drop comments, and obviously we always read them, be sure to throw in your comments on suggesting a good headset for Mickey here. I'm going to give him a headset I have laying around, but he's definitely in the market for a headset. But let's just point out there, guys, let's not tell him to go buy like $300-$400 Astros. Okay, let's be realistic.
That's funny,
dude. I really wish. I was excited for the KOTOR remake. I'm really hoping that's still a thing, Yobi. But it would be interesting if Disney would kind of like take some inspiration from KOTOR and maybe do a couple episodes of a television show, maybe a small movie, something. But so let's just get into it. Let's start off with a happy note here. With all the doom and gloom, BS, and crap that's surrounding the Xbox brand, and all the rampant discourse that is taking place on social media, there is a game getting ready to release. I know it's coming to Xbox. I will be absolutely, honestly, 100% real that I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation. I don't know. I don't care if it's coming to PlayStation. And the reason being is not because I'm a PlayStation hater. I own a PlayStation. But the majority of my multiplayer gaming experience is on Xbox with my good fellows like Mickey here, Blue in the chat, anybody else that always wants to join us. You can always see the party chats. They're never locked down unless somebody wants to come in and start acting like a crazy person. But the game, of course, I'm talking about is, I don't want to say near and dear, but it does definitely hit the nostalgia bug. Mickey just saw it for the first time last night. I showed him the trailer. I said, hey, do you want to come check out this game with us? And because me and Blue plan to get it. And that is where we are going to dive into Hypercharge. For those who don't know about Hypercharge, like, this is off of at least a description that's floating around on Steam, because it's actually been active on the PC community for a while now. There was once an ancient line of action figures who created a magical power source that would allow humans to keep their favorite childhood memories of their toys. This ancient power source is known as the Hypercore. Inside the Hypercore are the beloved memories of our favorite toys. If major evil destroys it, these memories will disappear forever. Defend it with everything you've got, or see our cherished toys turn into lost treasures of the past. So big thing is it's got 1 to 4 player online or local co-op. Yes, it has split screen support from what I've seen. There is a single player campaign that you can play offline with bots. Difficulty does scale with the number of actual players. It is a wave-based shooter story campaign style game. And there is a classic PvP game. There's a couple classic PvP game modes with up to 8 players. I'm assuming that that's where they're going to stay the same with what's going on PC. And of course, there's first and third person camera modes. What really hooked this game for Mickey, because it was fun to listen to him talking about, when I was like, hey, Mickey, go online right now. Go on the Xbox store and watch the trailer for this game. And he's like, I feel like I'm watching a Saturday morning cartoon or a Sunday morning cartoon. And I was like, just you wait, because it starts off as like a trailer for a cartoon, and then it cuts to the actual gameplay, and you see the customization, the action figures, and the way you can dress them up to your own personality. This game looks like it's going to be an absolute awesome amount of fun. It looks like there's 2 base versions for the games. For those that are from like different regions that don't use the US dollar, I really wish I could go through and do all the translating on how much it's going to cost in your regions. But to give you an idea, here in the States, the base version of the game is $30 right now. There is a 10% discount on Xbox if you pre-order, but there is a $40 version of the game that comes with some DLC packs and stuff to help with customization. That one is not on sale, but me and Mickey are also sycophants, and we are going to probably get the all-in version of the game just because we love our customization.
Yes, because we do. Yep.
Welcome, Arnie, to the show. Definitely great to have you here, and thank you to everybody else that's tuned in. I am just happy to have the 10 people here watching. Dude, these shows have been getting, at least in my opinion, great reception. We're getting good views. And definitely I look forward to every single night when you guys are here filling up the chat. We try to interact. Me and Mickey are not those individuals that will ignore your existence unless you're a member or super chat me. You don't got to give me money for you to exist for me. You exist by just coming into this chat. I don't care if you're giving me the middle finger or high five. We'll acknowledge your existence and we'll do it professionally. But back to Hypercharge, Mickey. Tell me, what did you see in the trailer, and what are you excited about on this game? That, especially with the fact that this game looks like it's going to be an absolute amount of good fun. The developer has been going through a lot of trials and tribulations to get this game out on Xbox and console. And it really sucks that he is going to be releasing the game with this whole situation that's going on with the Xbox community right now, kind of like overshadowing it.
Yeah, it's it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Toy Story, because the view of where you're gonna be is like in bedrooms and kind of that type of style of setup. And the game looks clean.
Oh
It
yeah, it
looks
looks really quick.
nice.
And just real quick, Bass Digi, yes, Bass or Bass Digi, however you want to pronounce it. Thank you for joining us. Yes, it launches at the end of the month. Its official release date is May 31st, but it looks like the game will, here on Arizona time, the game will unlock at 5 o'clock, our time here in Arizona on May 30th. So by my math and my crazy imagination, that means that probably more than likely it's going to unlock at 8 o'clock Eastern time, May 30th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be.
So back what you were saying, you were talking about how clean the game was looking.
Yeah, it looks clean. There's a lot of customization as far as what you can make your character look like. As far as weapons, it looks like they're going to have some different style weapons and things. Don't really know how that's going to work yet, or if there's customization for them. But so far, that game looks good. It looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be something different too, so that's always good. So yeah, I mean, if you're into that type of thing where it's like like I said, it kind of looks Toy Story-ish as far as like gameplay. Just take a look at the trailer, and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, it looks fun, and I'm excited for it, and I'm ready for it to come out.
For me, it doesn't go beyond toy. It goes beyond Toy Story. Do you remember the movie Small Soldiers?
Yes, I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it. It's like one of those cult classics. So the guy was trying to justify his existence at his job, and he basically described a toy that would play back. And they were like, well, where are you going to get the technology for that? And the company he worked for also made military grade technology, and he put munitions AI chips in the toys. And all of a sudden, like, he had a problem that the soldiers were actually coming to life and having a war with the other half of it was a really great flick, and it was funny as hell to watch, especially when you see them realize they need to make more soldiers, and the only thing that they can find at the time are Barbie dolls. And so they're microchipping Barbie dolls.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, it looked like the game, it goes beyond just customization from your favorite G.I. Joe. We saw one character like right off the rip in the trailer we watched that looked like he was something out of Dragon Ball Z. I know the developer is not going to get himself into copyright trouble by making something one for one, but you could tell the toy action figures are taking inspiration from toys that we had in our childhood. And it definitely, like, when you saw some of the bosses like fighting the toy T-Rex, and some of it looked like I like the fact that it's going to be a lot of PvE, and you only got to do PvP if you want to. At least that's the way it looks. Has me really excited because, dude, I'm sorry. I'll do PvP when, I'm in the mood for it, but I do get a lot of frustrated at the tryhards. So whenever there's a PvE horde mode or a wave, I'm down.
And
yeah, Yobi here says he's already got it pre-ordered. Yeah, I'm gonna probably pre-order it like a week before it comes out, because me and Mickey obviously have the same issue that we don't like pre-ordering a game just for us to not be charged for it right away. So I generally buy my pre-orders a week before they come out, just so that way the money comes out and I don't got to worry about that.
Yep.
Yeah. So Arnie, the game does have a single player mode. There is a campaign. And here's the cool part. This developer knows how to create a service style game that can be played offline. It even hypes the fact that the campaign mode can be played offline. So the developer is a really awesome individual. He's been very active on social media. You can tell he really cares and has put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this title. And the sad part is, over the course of his development for the Xbox version of the game, at least, I've seen him like drop a few like screenshots of what people are doing, like the harassment he receives on what he's not developing the game fast enough, or, you know, challenging his worth as a developer because of things that they see that they would rather see different. That's where I literally added at the guy and was like, hey, I am ready for this product whenever you are ready to deliver it to me. And all I can do is say thank you to the developer that took the time to hash out this game, because I mean, like I've got some YouTube videos. I've got like 13, 15 hours of my life wrapped up into creating. I can only imagine how many hours of this individual's life, how many moments he's missed out on, you know, moments with his family just to develop this game, and to treat him as if he's at my beck and call is not in my nature. And honestly, it's not very good. It's not a very good example of the community that he's developing these games for. And it really stinks that people do this, for sure.
Yeah, it's fucking impatient people that just act like jerks. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that here shortly. Trust me. What's up, Boba Fett? Thank you for checking it out. Funny part is, my wife just discovered who Boba Fett was last night in Attack of the Clones. Now I'm having, because she's been watching The Mandalorian a little bit with me, and I feel like I'm like, that's Boba Fett. He's a clone. So, but yeah, so definitely, guys, keep your eye out for Hypercharge. This game does. I'm really hoping this game knocks it out of the park and appeases all the crazies on the internet, because let's just face it, those on the internet can be absolutely hypercritical to a point that's absolutely unhealthy and at sometimes unethical. And that's going to kind of like get us to start transitioning into the big talk. So let's just start softly into it, because like, let's really talk about, you know, everybody wants to talk about what Xbox got's going on. But I think it's interesting that once again, Sony is at least being let off the hook for the crap that they do. It's crap. It is what it is. What's up, Jago6? Thank you for come checking it out. Welcome, William Lanza. Thank you for come checking it out. Please don't think that there's paying pre-order to beta test it. See, here's the thing. I don't know if this one's going to be considered an actual beta test, because this game's been out for a while on PC. And you know what? You know, it is what it is. Yeah, you could be paying to beta test, but at the same time, let's look at the other half of that equation. What if the game turns out absolutely awesome, flawless, no bugs, plays exactly the way it should, and there's already a very healthy, established community around the game? When you're done on the mountain of don't pay for a beta test, people like me, Mickey, and Yobi over here are going to have these absolute awesome decked out characters with all these customizations, and people that wanted to hold out are going to have to play catch up. So there's the other half of that equation of, yeah, it's a gamble. But I literally, dude, it's kind of like the same thing, like buying a scratcher ticket. You could get an awesome payday on a scratcher ticket, or you just wasted your money. But that's why I just say never judge anybody on what they do with their money, because spending money, there's a little bit of a mental health component behind it. Some people buy weed, some people buy cigarettes and lotto tickets or alcohol. Some people like literally spend money on like skydiving and other experiences. Our experience is video games. Yeah, the base. So that's what I'm going to say right now. The base for, if you want to play this game right now, yeah, definitely, Arnie, go play it on Steam. The game has been alive and well on Steam. It got its start on PC. And yes, obviously Steam is always going to be cheaper. But for people like myself and Mickey, I don't like like, dude, I want to kick back on my couch. I don't want to sit in this freaking upright chair for like 5-6 hours playing a multiplayer game. That's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
But let's, like, really, as we were talking about, so, you know, speaking of the Steam community, Arnie, okay, so speaking of the Steam community, let's kind of like talk about the fact that Sony decided to do something. Everybody was talking about it last week. I think we maybe even had a small discussion about it. But so Sony, out of left field, decided to come down. And the reason why I say left field is all of a sudden they wanted to enforce some small print that was in the game all along, at least in the terms of service agreement. People are going, like, if you're going to say right now, later on, that we're defending mediocrity or defending the brand that we prefer to play on, well, the same Alpha Defense Warriors for their brand came out and we were like, well, it was in the fine print of the terms of service. And we're talking about how all of a sudden Sony wanted to all of a sudden implement that they wanted oh, they're already telling you, Mickey, get the HyperX Cloud 3 wired gaming headset. And damn it.
Yeah. Well, just keep a track on that for me since I can't see the chat. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that for the ideas and stuff.
This message has been brought to you by, see, there's something for y'all, like how crazy I am. I have an alarm on my phone to remind me to log into ESO to get my daily. It's the second time it's crashed this show. Anyways, so they all of a sudden wanted to enforce the fine print in their terms of service, that they wanted anybody who played Helldivers 2, no matter if they were on PC or PlayStation, to have a PSN account. Not a big deal if you own a PlayStation. Really big effing deal if you own a PC. There is a large number of people on PC that do not want a PSN account, and they are not going to sign up for one. Funny enough, Steam actually decided to extend a refund for those who bought Helldivers 2 that decided they didn't want to do that. And it was also for those that were in regions where PSN did not exist. So I might get some of my numbers wrong, but PSN is only in about 69 countries or 69 regions. And from some of what I read, the number is anywhere between 170 to 200 regions that did not have access to PSN. The game was basically rendered useless. And that's what's funny about it is I'm going to say it right now. Unless PlayStation is managed and ran by total morons, and I'm not saying that as a diss. I'm just pointing this out as an example that, like, PlayStation came out and people defended the fact that PlayStation was like, oopsie, we're still learning how to do the ins and outs of a games as a service style game. You know exactly which regions you are selling PSN in. So that means you know for a fact that you were marketing and selling a game in regions that PSN is not available, knowing that you are going to enact a clause that they needed to have, that they were going to be required to need a PSN account. Essentially, it was like, hey, we're going to charge all these dumbasses $40 to play this game that don't read the fine print. And then we're going to make it be like, oh, you didn't read the fine print and we get to keep your $40. Well, the funny part is, Steam decided to start refunding games. That backfired on Sony. Arrowhead Games, the company that made Helldivers 2, was not happy about Sony forcing them into this, which again brings open another can of worms on this is what happens when you get in bed with a very restrictive company like Sony that likes to limit the reach of a game and likes to dictate where the game can be, and also being like, hey, we want to force PSN accounts. And so that's where it definitely, this is an eye-opening experience for third-party developers to really understand the wording and the power that they have in the contracts that they sign to get a publisher to invest in their game, especially one like Sony. But that's where, so Sony did backtrack on it. Arrowhead Games decided to put a campaign out that all their community managers wanted them to negatively put negative reviews up on Steam anywhere they could. I think there was somewhere about like 100,000 negative reviews that were delivered on Steam in like 4 or 5 days. I was like, dang, that turned quickly. So yes, people are championing, that, hey, we won. We got Sony to backtrack. Okay, it's all done and over with. Dude, if Xbox tried something like this, I knew that's what they knew of this
before. They'd be dragged through the dirt.
Right? That's the only thing. Jago 6. Arrowhead knew of this before the game was launched, but they did not exactly see that's another thing too. What part does Arrowhead Games really play in this? Do they share the blame? Because they really did throw Sony under the bus on how they acted on social media, especially with having their community managers kind of like campaign for the move that Sony made. But that's what's hilarious about it is, so if this was an Xbox studio or the Xbox brand publisher, Xbox, the company Xbox itself did this kind of crap, there would be hit piece after hit piece after hit piece, and it would be an absolute bloodbath on social media, kind of like right now for another reason. But no, once again, we see hey, we got Sony to listen to us, but it's still cool. We're cool. The only negative thing that I honestly saw about this whole situation is that this is going to be a black eye on Sony from the PC community, and the fact that Sony burnt the trust that they had made with the PC community. Now the PC community is going to be trepidatious and cautious anytime they buy a game with the PlayStation logo on it, because all of a sudden they could be required to need a PSN account.
They have the PSN,
yeah. And because now it seems that after this incident, it came out about Ghost of Tsushima that's coming to PC, that you can play the single player game without a PSN account, but you are going to be required from day one to need a PSN account to play the multiplayer on Ghost of Tsushima. So it's kind of interesting. Like, this is exactly Horizon the Forbidden West #2. Horizon Forbidden West, when it was talked about, Sony was like, we're going to give you a free upgrade to the PlayStation 5. They tried to change their stance and reverse course. The community got mad, called them out for it, and Sony was like, all right, well, fine, but this is the last time. And of course, once again, they tried to do this with Helldivers 2, and they reversed course. But of course, Sony, in true fashion, okay, but next time, see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
So, Xbox, Xbox, like, people love to grab their pitchforks, their torches, their picket signs, their megaphones, their soapboxes, a chair, whatever they can do to stand and cry on about the Xbox marketing. See, I'm kind of curious on what's going to happen with all that. I agree totally, Arnie. I wonder too. His question is, I wonder if Steam will allow Ghosts to be sold because the game won't be complete on those games that don't support PSN. I'm kind of curious on that myself because, again, like we said, PSN is only available in 69 regions. Like, there's a lot more in 69 regions in the world. So it's kind of like, wow, I can't believe this. But it's no different than Xbox requiring people to have an Xbox Live account to play Sea of Thieves or Grounded on PlayStation. I don't know if they might. I don't know if they really require that on PC, but you never know. Xbox does treat PC gamers differently than console gamers. That's a total known element. But this is it, everybody always wants to tear down Xbox for their marketing, and which is why we've got Redfall up on the screen here. We're going to use Redfall as an example, which will help us transition into the big debate that's probably going to light the chat on fire. So when Redfall was first announced, it was marketed as 60 frames a second, this, that, and the other. There was hype for the game. We even saw certain influencers, the ones that make really, really very pretty pictures as thumbnails on YouTube, that got flown out to Arcane Austin, sat at the PC, and blew smoke up Arcane Austin's ass. Oh, this is a great game. This is a great game. Thank you for bringing me out here. I don't want to say nothing negative to you to totally undermine the ability for me to be flown out here again. So I'm just going to blow smoke up your ass. And I'm going to tell you, it's a great game. Had a great experience. This was total fun. I'm going to go back and hype it on my channel. And then when the game releases, obviously it came out that the game was not going to be at 60 frames a second. It was going to be at 30 frames a second. Xbox didn't lie. They actually came out and were like, hey, we're not going to hit our target. It's going to be 30 frames a second at launch, and 60 frames a second is going to come post-launch in a patch. Nothing misleading about that. But everybody wants to be like, oh, Xbox and their marketing, they really suck with their wording. They really don't know how to market to people. Well, apparently PlayStation knows how to lie to people. What's worse in the marketing sense? Lying to your consumer base, or not hitting a target on launch, but still giving the consumers what they wanted in a post-launch? So that's where everybody wants to talk about Xbox marketing and how they suck at marketing. But Xbox may not be the absolute greatest marketer in the world, but they sure as hell do not deceptively lie or twist truths like Sony. And I'm not trying to be like, I play on all consoles, but like I'm telling you right now, like there is a fundamental customer service mantra in these two companies. Xbox's return policy. You got to play the game, I think, less than an hour, and the game can only be purchased within it can be returned within the first 14 days with less than an hour playtime on the game. PlayStation, the minute you download it, you own it. Xbox, if there's frivolous charges on your account, as far as I've known and what I've seen, what's personally happened with me, Xbox will actually make sure you get your money back, and they will really dig into that. PlayStation holds the consumer responsible for all fraudulent charges on their account at a risk of, if you try to file a chargeback with your banking institution like we do, like, oh, someone stole my card, I'm going to file a chargeback. If you file a chargeback on your card on a PlayStation purchase, they will lock your account. So if you have 500 digital games on your account, they're locked. You're locked. You can't get to them. So if you go, like, I'm just being serious, go read.
That's insane.
Yeah, go read some of the fine print that that we all scroll through when we make our account on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, anywhere you make an account for a digital library or a digital marketplace using the online services. We all know that little pop-up where it's like, oh my God, there's like 10 pages of this, and we literally scroll to the bottom, accept, done. We didn't read one iota of the fine print. PlayStation, I have gone through it. I have found it because contract reading is actually a part of my job. The funny part is I also am married to a woman who actually does administrative paperwork for property management companies. So it's actually her job to enforce contractual obligations. My wife is worse than I am on reading contracts. She really like digs into them. She'll like take, like, we just got a new apartment. So yeah, the background will change here in the next few months. But I mean, she literally read that lease up and down at least twice. So, if you go through and you read Sony's terms of service and agreement, you will find out most of the protections in there are for Sony, and there's very little to anything for the consumer. Where Xbox, it's a total different world. Now, I know they're a multi-trillion-dollar corporation, and at the end of the day, they make money, but the customer service differences between Sony and Microsoft are night and day. Yes, Porky, I was extremely worried myself. Thank you for being here, good sir. Thank you, Mari, for coming in and joining us. Bringing it up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to get into that, but that's why we're getting into like what Sony did with Helldivers 2. Mickey, I have been rambling. You've been listening. Hopefully the drool isn't dripping from your lip yet and that you're not asleep, but
most of the time I just listen and pay attention.
Right. But now, as somebody who doesn't actively engage with people on social media when it comes to the major influencers, and you don't really like consume and gobble down all the crap that the gaming media puts out, what do you think about this whole situation that, Sony tried to literally pull the rug out from underneath everybody with the whole Helldivers 2 situation, and now they're having to backtrack? To me, at least for me and my perspective, Sony knows how to deceptively market, where Microsoft knows how to stick their own foot in their mouth with their marketing, but Xbox can also come out and own up and be like, hey, we fucked up. We're gonna have to make this up for you.
If we're talking about the Helldivers thing, I mean, just for them to, say that you have to have a PlayStation account it's just kind of weird in the first place. And like you said, there's a lot of places that, I guess can't get on, the PlayStation account. So that would kind of, it kind of shoots them in the foot. But I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize this stuff. I glanced at like some things here and there, but I didn't really pay attention to it. You're the one that actually kind of got me aware to what was actually happening. And it's, it is a little, it's kind of shady, to do something like that, especially when you're not just dealing with Sony, you're dealing with, PC gamers too. It's, it's kind of a shady thing to do, but, and yeah, they're going to backtrack because once the wave starts rolling, then, that wave's going to get bigger, and then people are really going to show their distaste for shadiness, and, that could amount to, losing money. And of course they don't want to lose money. So yeah, they're going to backtrack, but, it does create distrust too. So, that's a slippery slope that the PlayStation's toying with there. And, if they continue to, do that type of shady thing, I mean, folks are going to get tired of it, and they're going to end up shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know if Microsoft has done, anything of the, of that type, with games or anything, but, again, I'm not on the up and up aside from what you give me. So, but, that's a shady practice but it's, Sony's going to end up shooting themselves in the foot if they continue to, produce those types of practices. So, I mean, people will get tired of it eventually, and they might end up. I mean, I don't know. They might end up losing folks to Microsoft or to PC, one of the two. So, I mean, it's that's if that's their dealings, then they're gonna learn the consequences to it.
What's up, Dark Child? Thank you for checking out the show tonight. Yes, hello, good sir. And back to what you're saying, Mickey. So when people do drop a platform like, oh, I'm quitting Xbox or I'm quitting PlayStation, a lot of times they're not switching to go to the other console. I've noticed that majority of the time now people are going to PC. There's a number of reasons for that. You have more control. You can definitely, have an uber powerful rig to do whatever you want, to like go for the graphic settings or the resolution you're aiming for. There's also a larger breadth of games available. But that's where Sony, what their tactics are, they seem to think that they can act the same way that they do with their console. Like they try what Sony does with their console, they try to pull the same shenanigans on PC, and they're really finding out that the PC community can rally very quickly, and they're not like the Sony diehards, excuse the expression, that are too busy trying to fight for side booby over on Stellar Blade. The PC community rallied effing quick. Like, I mean, like it speaks fathoms when you're like, what do you mean we got 100,000 negative reviews in like 4 or 5 days on Steam? Oh my God. Like the fact that these guys get together on chat rooms and other sites and they can rally to a cause real quick. They're going to find out that, like what Porky Soda says, Sony is definitely the more anti-consumer company in gaming right now. And they're going to find out real quick that anti-consumer practices in PC do not fly. I used to be one of those that would be like, hey, don't pirate games. The developers work hard for what they do. I know a lot of the guys that do pirate games, it's more of a middle finger and a stick it to you to the publishers involved. But I was always like, try to think about the time and effort and all the blood, sweat, and tears the developers put into it. But now this opens up a different wound and a different conversation that, as Yobi pointed out earlier, one thing that always sticks out in those EULAs, basically the terms of service, the fine print on any game you ever get, it says you don't own this game. You own a license or a key to play it. And he even points out that's about 95% of games today. And he's absolutely correct. We are seeing games that are like just recently, The Crew. This game, the server was shut down, and on Steam libraries, it was removed. I know it was removed out of Ubisoft libraries if you bought the game through the Ubisoft launcher. I don't know about Steam. I know it's still in my Xbox library, but at this point, it is nothing more than a tile on the screen page, because if you try to go into that game, it's not going to work. And this is where I honestly have to agree with the point of discontent that's coming is, how is it that a publisher or a game developer can come at me and say, don't pirate and steal my game, but I can take it back from you without a refund? What the fuck? What? You're pirating your own game from me. So that's where it's kind of like, wait a minute. So you're telling me... That's an
interesting way to look at it.
Huh?
So that's an interesting way to look at it.
Right. In other words, I can't steal my game from you, but you can steal your game from me. What the hell kind of logic is that? Like, really, let's think about it. Dude, I have Alpha Protocol, And yeah, I'm going to play that game. As soon as I'm done with like Knights of the Old Republic, I'm going to get an Alpha Protocol, Yobi. Yeah, that's definitely a game if you guys haven't played some Alpha Protocol. Yeah, exactly, Porky. You make a good point. If purchasing isn't owning, then piracy isn't theft. Like
okay.
Yeah,
I see.
that's what I mean. It's like when you really think about it, it's like rules
That's a
for
good
thee,
point.
but not for
Good
me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. So, it's like that whole thing of where, you know, again, like it's like double standards. You can't steal our game, but we can take our game back from you. PlayStation tries to say, oops, we're still learning. Everybody's like, oh, that's okay. Just don't do it again. Xbox drops a game, 30 frames a second. Oh my God. Oh my God. You guys lied to me. You're absolute pieces of trash. You didn't follow through with anything you told me. I can't believe it. You're horrible and you're corrupt. Yeah. So this brings us into the conversation. And this, guys, feel free to get going on in the chat. Me and Mickey have been talking about this with obviously the people we game with on Xbox. As soon as the news was dropped, I sent Mickey the link and was like, yo, Xbox woke up today and chose violence. Don't know what was that all about, but so me and Mickey have had, I want to say, at least a good 24 hours to stew, maybe actually more like 36 hours to really stew on what we're going to say here today. So, yeah, exactly. It isn't about owning the game, but see, this is where I also look at games as a service. Mari and other people in the chat. This is where I look at games as a service. I paid essentially between buying the tickets and the popcorn and the drinks and the other stuff at the movie theater. I paid $60 at a movie theater to have the experience of watching Star Wars The Phantom Menace on the big screen again. I paid for an experience. With games as a service, you're paying for the experience. Just like you pay to go for the experience of a concert. There is tons of there is people that pay hundreds of dollars to go to a fine dining establishment. You ain't taking the plates and silverware with you. Like me and Mickey just went to Medieval Times 2 weeks ago. I wanted to take that damn plate and cup. I really wanted that plate and cup. That thing was made of metal. I mean, you could use that. You could make that. You could take that plate and soup bowl and use it as a defensive weapon if somebody was to break into your home. Like, could you imagine? Like, so you were assaulted with a Medieval Times plate. Yes, and then he whacked me in the face with the soup cup. Like,
that's funny.
So that's where I look at it, like you're paying for the experience. But, I just really do feel like I'm a big proponent for game preservation. I'm also a big proponent that people should be able to feel like they own something, especially a single player experience. Like I understand that with games like Elder Scrolls Online, games that Mickey and I have poured hundreds of dollars into, are one day not going to be there, probably 30, 40 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, to me, I'm like, okay, well, but so for those that, I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock on the bottom of the ocean with no Wi-Fi in a Faraday cage. Like Xbox, obviously, it's sad to say it. Xbox has shut down 4 studios on the Bethesda ZeniMax side. We've got Alpha Dog Games. I'm not going to be like Matt Booty and say Alpha Dog Studios. Alpha Dog Games. Mobile developer. They were a mobile developer. We had Roundhouse Studios, Roundhouse Games. They were not exactly shut down. They were shuttered and absorbed by ZeniMax Online to be as a support studio for Elder Scrolls Online. And at least for me and my own tinfoil hat theory, I also think they're going to be used to support the next MMO that ZeniMax Online is working on, because they are working on another MMO. But the two major ones are Arcane Austin, the developers of Redfall and Prey. Prey was an absolute awesome game for me. Me and Mickey enjoyed playing Redfall. We have it playing here on the screen. I did not find Redfall to be the dumpster fire that everybody was trying to tell me it was.
Not at all.
Right. And then we've got the big one of them all. It is a little bit strange to me, but at the same time, when you have these discussions in the group setting that we do, where we're yes, Boba Fett, Red Knight. Yeah, dude, that Red Knight. Yeah, you could just tell that Red Knight thought he was hot shit at medieval times. And yeah, it was a great show. But the big game that really got everybody kind of really up in arms about is Tango Games. The developers of Hi-Fi Rush, and I believe I think they also did oh my god. It's a stupid ass freaking game called something Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo. There we go. I think they also had their hands in Ghostwire Tokyo. But
not familiar with that game.
Huh?
But I'm not familiar with that game.
It's in Game Pass, but so like shortly before Xbox bought Bethesda, there was two games that were essentially put as a PlayStation timed exclusive. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo.
Heard of Deathloop. I heard about that one, and apparently people were going gaga over that one too.
It was an all right game. I don't know if it'd be your cup of tea, because I know you didn't really play too much of Dishonored. It's definitely an interesting concept of a game. Where you essentially I think you like repeat the same day over and over again, and the whole object is to assassinate all the targets in one day. But you got, it's kind of like the Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise flick, where he lived the same day over and over again. But as each day went by, he got better and better at it. He learned more and more about what was going to happen, till eventually he had all the information necessary to get the job done. So Ghostwire Tokyo, I'm not too familiar with. It's actually something that's like, I got to play it. It's in my backlog on Game Pass. But it's like all the people of Tokyo disappeared in one night, and now there's like nothing but ghosts and creatures walking the street, and you got to somehow obviously save the world, I guess. Appreciate it, William. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you, good sir. So yeah, like I wish they would have done a Prey 2. A lot of people were big fans of Prey. So what a lot of people don't understand about Arcane Austin is Arcane Austin was actually a support studio for Arcane Lyon, which is, if I'm right, in Lyon, France. They were a support studio to help do the Dishonored games and the other projects that Lyon was working on. And then they asked for a chance to do their own game by themselves, not for Arcane Lyon, and they got Prey. I thought they did an amazing job with the game. It takes place on a space station. You have the entire walk of the place of the space station. You have different avenues of play style, whether you want to go in running and gunning or stealth, climbing through the ventilation system. Like there's different ways to play the game. To me, after a while, it felt like BioShock. I had absolute fun with Prey. A lot of people, Prey was one of those games where you either loved it or you didn't like it. There was very few in between. Like, I liked Prey. I think, Mickey, you said you tried it?
I think I did when you originally told me about it, and I thought it was pretty cool.
So
I'd have to play it to remember if I did play it, though.
Okay, no, it's definitely
I'll have to check it out.
It's definitely an older title, that's for sure. I liked it. I mean, it's fun. So that's where, you know, for starters, let's just get one thing out of the way. It's pretty sad to see that Xbox did this. There was some good studios in there. Like, I liked Arcane Austin. I liked Redfall. I liked Prey. They were a good support studio for some titles, and they also did a good job with Prey. And they, again, did a good job with Redfall. It was not the dumpster fire that people try to convince me it was. Yes, it had its points of contention of like, oh my God, I can't believe the character that the NPCs are gliding down the stairs and not walking down them. But I remember one of my first interactions in playing, I think it was Fallout New Vegas. Like, you wake up in Fallout New Vegas, and the old man who dug you out of the grave and essentially brought you to his house and woke you up, his like head pops off and like turns. So from playing Bethesda games, I'm used to laughing at a good old bug. Like, I thought it was funny as hell. Like, I'm making a call, hey, that NPC is like gliding down the stairs. He's not using the stairs. He's gliding down them. But yeah, it was, see, that's the other thing. I don't know if Arcane Austin really needed money per se. I know that the gas game was something that they were forced into because some of the developer interviews, some of the developers actually wanted to start the game over and make it a straight single player experience, not a gas game. So I really do feel that Arcane Austin was kind of led down a path that they ultimately were not prepared for, because we saw the same thing happen with BioWare and Anthem. Make us a game as a service. Well, we don't know nothing about that. Well, just do it anyways. And you got Anthem, just like we got Redfall. These guys are known for crafting great single player experiences, and they were essentially like, you know, put a noose around their neck. Hey, you better make a game as a service. And that was through the original leadership of Bethesda. Some of the developers really hoped that Microsoft was going to reset the Redfall development, but they didn't. And obviously, they just let the game come out in the condition that it did. And that obviously backfired on Microsoft, because people were really hoping for a really well-rounded multiplayer experience, because Xbox is known for delivering very well put together multiplayer experiences, at least in the past, with like Halo and Gears of War. And we got Redfall, which obviously was developed by Bethesda, but maybe Microsoft should have been paid a little bit more attention to the soup cooking before they served it, kind of thing. But it's tragic to see all these individuals that work for these studios that are now out of a job. It definitely sets a tone, especially now in 2024, where we have seen more gaming industry layoffs. And people lose their jobs more in 2024 than they did in all of 2023. So, and we're not even halfway through 2024. Just kind of give your 2 cents on it, Mickey, because this is where we've kind of like threw some like stuff into conversation the other night. And like, I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are probably like going to, like, I mean, like, go ahead and add at your favorite influencer and tell them to, you know, challenge me, and I'll have a good conversation with them. We'll put it that way. Go ahead, Mickey.
Yeah, the main thing I think is that is disappointing is that, a lot of people are going to be put out of work. And even though it's good that they took the ones from Roundhouse and, effectively moved them into the ZeniMax Online with Elder Scrolls, I hope that I would hope that they would, at least grab some of the other folks from the other studios and, at least place them somewhere, where they can help or, but I know that that's not the case. So that's disappointing. And, and I understand that, those studios, they didn't produce, even though those are considered AAA games, correct?
I think Hi-Fi Rush was considered AA.
Okay.
They tried to push the idea of AAA games, but I know the vast majority of these games either were AA or they came off as AA in their delivery.
Okay, well, my mistake. But they're built behind these what I think I would consider smaller studios, and they're just not making the money. So they made a business decision. At least that's what I believe and what I would hope. It's a business decision that they're not just doing it for any other reason, but what it looks like is it's a business / money issue. So that's why they closed them. I just wish they would take some of those folks and move them to some of the other studios so they at least still have a job. That's the main thing that's kind of disappointing to me. I don't know none of us really know the reason behind why they did it. We can make assumptions and whatever and probably be close to what it is, but the only ones that truly know why they did it is obviously, Microsoft. So, I think it's just for money reasons, but it's disappointing because people losing their jobs have to try to find new jobs, and I just hope that they do, with another studio or whatever the case may be. But I mean, I'm not in I'm not in with the whole circle and stuff, so I don't know all these different reasons or ideas or whatever. So looking at it from the outside, to me it looks like a business decision. So I mean that would be my opinion on it.
Oh, it was totally a business decision, that's for sure.
And when I say business, I'm talking it has to do with money.
Yeah, Mari.
If they're not making the money, then that's why
Mari makes a good point. Unfortunately, the only way to make money is to create live service games. Live service games are uber profitable. Like look at Madden, 2K, Fortnite. There is a number of live service games out there that make an ass ton of money. So yes, definitely there's a lot of studios and publishers both that want to pursue games as a service. And that's just ultimately that, like, I hate to say it, but
there's single player games too, though, that
there's single player games, but like, let's really think about it. I'm 38. You're, like you said, you were 47, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So people like me and you.
You're 38?
Yeah, I'm 38.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm not saying that bad. I'm saying that that's just crazy that I've actually known you. Holy crap, dude.
I met Mickey when I was 21 years old, and
that's crazy.
I was on 21 years old, and I was 21 years old and on paper, for those who understand that. So, so this is where
now when you say you're talking about games in the
games
like Madden and 2K and those.
Like those games, they make a lot of money, and people like you and I, we are used to buying games and owning games and single player experiences. The newer generation of gamer has been raised on services like Netflix and Amazon Prime, where you don't really own the crap you watch. Yeah, thanks, Yobi. I really appreciate that. Nope, I'm 38 years old. Nope. Born in 86. So I was too young to experience the 80s, thank God. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, dude, that would have been a great time. But anyways, people like me, Mickey, and us that grew up in the generation of playing single player games before streaming, like streaming movies and television shows was a thing. That was what we were raised on. Is you wanted to watch a damn movie, or you rented it, or you bought it. If you missed your favorite episode on television before the invention of the DVR, if you didn't record that on a VHS tape, you were just
that's right.
Shit out of luck. Right. You didn't get to see that episode until it was on a rerun.
Yep.
Yeah, remember those days, guys, where you'd be able to pop the VHS tape in the VSR and be able to record WCW while you're watching Monday Night Raw, and then when you were done watching Monday Night Raw, you went and watched WCW?
Yeah, my mom used to VHS the WCW stuff pre-Attitude era for me on Monday nights. I remember that crap. Yeah.
Yeah. Great time. So, but now we're talking about the fact that there is a large demographic of the gaming consumer that is a younger generation individual that has been raised on Netflix, Amazon Prime. I stream my content. I don't own my content, both in movies, television, and gaming. And they are just fine with this. And for them, they see the value incentive of, hey, you can play our game for free, but you got to pay $20 to look cool to do it. And we all know, dude, that is the human disposition. If human beings did not want to look cool doing anything, crap like the Ford Mustang, the Camaro, the Ferrari, designer clothing, yachts, wouldn't exist. The whole purpose of that is to stroke your own damn ego. Kind of like, there you go. You know, yay, you can play Fortnite for free right now and have a blast, but you're going to feel like you're missing out because you're going to see some dude in a banana suit or Kratos run by, Master Chief, one of the characters from Dragon Ball Z, what have you. You're going to see something like that run by and be like, oh, damn, I'm just stuck as the base character. And boom, you go in and you make your first purchase and you're hooked from there and you're making all these purchases.
Spending a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. So there's that. Record those scrambled channels. Oh, my God. Mickey, we all remember what channels back in the day were scrambled. Yes, I wanted to watch the one with Debbie in it. No, I'm playing. Oh, man. So, that's cool. Oh, what? Blue, I didn't know you were born in 85. Holy shit. Wow, wow. Hats off to you, sir.
Screw you guys.
Dude. Wow, that's cool, man. Wow. Man. To be honest, I'm like in the same boat as Yobi now. I thought you were like still in your 20s. The fact that you're in 85, wow. Man. That makes you
Blue, you're an old man.
That makes Blue my elder. I'm gonna have to like show him respect. No, I'm gonna have to start calling him sir.
That's funny.
Oh man. Yeah, Yobi here is 88. But Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, you can kind of see the demographic of us, us from the 80s and 90s, you know, we've already, but anybody from like the 2000s and forward, they have a total different mindset when it comes to owning content. We'll just say that. So let's now, because we are dealing with a total different mindset and we brought up games as a service, and Boba Fett comes in with 81.
77.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for somebody to jump in here and be like 70. I'm like, oh, they beat Mickey. So let's just get into like where we're kind of going with this conversation, because yes, we've seen all the hit pieces on Xbox on how they're this shitty $3 trillion company that can afford to keep the doors open on these companies. Yes, they can. Could Microsoft be more charitable? Yes. But at the end of the day, that's what it would be, is charitable. I don't know a single corporation that really thinks that way. They're driven by their investors and the fiduciary responsibility to their investors. And that's where, the word douche is in fiduciary. So you can't blame them for acting that way. So,
no,
but
that's funny.
At any rate, so let's but we are not here to make excuses for Xbox. This is more like just looking at it from a logical perspective. And that's where, because today I saw people like on Twitter, if you defend this, you're defending mediocrity, and you're also a piece of crap that, you're basically like a yes man. I'm not going to say that Microsoft made the right decision. Satya Nadella, this was probably Satya Nadella's decision at the end of the day. Phil Spencer, I liked how Mike Ibarra came out, and, a little of us actually felt like he kind of came out of character to come out and say, hey, me and Phil Spencer have not always seen eye to eye on things. I've known him for X amount of years. I've worked with him for this many years. And I know Phil Spencer is a human being, and probably what's going on today with these 4 studios has Phil Spencer probably very bothered, and he is probably not happy with the situation. We also saw one of the leads over at Arcane Leon decide to essentially probably maybe sign, seal, and deliver his own career by going out on social media and describing what Microsoft just did as a gut punch to the industry and to the company that he works for, and that he is not happy with it at all. He released a Twitter thread that was a couple tiles long. I wish that man the best when it comes to like, hey man, if you can challenge them and voice your opinion and still have a job, that's awesome, because I've been there in that example. Because I have had to voice my opinion to my job and, have that whole thing like, God, I hope they don't can my ass. But, that's the whole point, is there's a way to professionally and respectfully voice your opinion without, getting toxic. And that's kind of like what I had to do at my own job. So let's just start with something that's probably maybe going to get some people probably talking. What really sucks about this situation with the closure is, let's start with some people brought up, what's going to happen with other studios. For starters, I don't know if they're allowed to shut down any studios at ABK, which is where I think that's why maybe, Toys for Bob decided to be like, oh, we're out, because maybe Toys for Bob realized that they wanted them to shut down Toys for Bob or something, but they couldn't. So they just let Toys for Bob buy themselves out and go independent to kind of offload one studio out of the ABK deal. And I also, the reason I think that it's hard and difficult is because the FTC and the CMA were very critical in the purchase of ABK and wanting to know if there was going to be significant layoffs or studio shutdowns. So I think out of fear of pissing off regulatory entities, I don't think Xbox really has the capacity right now to shut down studios at ABK. And so maybe some of these studios at Bethesda became the sacrificial lamb, which is where Satya Nadella and the other decision makers that make decisions based off of graphs and numbers on a spreadsheet made some decisions that were very questionable. But could we say we see their decision-making process at the same time? Because let's face it, I really do feel that these studio shutdowns are partially part of the reason, like everybody. So we see a lot of influencers and the gaming media alike make a lot of money off of the click drama that they create from the negative articles and the negative content that they create and publish and circulate across multiple platforms on the internet. Bad news sells, and talking shit gets you a lot more recognition than talking professionally and respectfully. Yep. So the reason why I'm talking like this is so a few weeks ago at my job, because at my current job, I've worked there 17 years. Mickey knows who I work for. I'm pretty much right under the owner of the company when it comes to responsibility for the company. And we have a supervisor outside, because if you know anything about what I've talked about and the things I've said in the past, the supervisor that's outside, that's governing some of the employees, has done roughly around 10 years in prison in his lifetime. And he has a way of treating people disrespectfully that I had enough of it literally 2 weeks ago. And he made a big mistake where I had to go out there and scold him for his mistake. And he obviously tried to be like, you can't talk to me like that. And I had to essentially be like, I'm essentially your boss, so I'm sorry to break it to you, but I am going to talk to you like I am in charge of you, because I am in charge of you. I'm sorry that you're a mid-50s man that has a 38-year-old kid telling him what to do. And the point that I'm getting at this is I called him out for how he's being disrespectful and unprofessional to the employees by calling them stupid, idiot, morons. He was being very derogatory towards the employees. The employees were messing up. They were doing things wrong, but that's where I'm like, hey, you got to really work on your delivery. And that's when he got up and he's like, you got to work on your delivery on how you're talking to me. And I had to basically tell him to his face, have I called you stupid, a moron, or an idiot? I have not sunk to your level. I will not sink to your level. And I'm telling you right now that you can figure out ways of talking to them and holding them responsible for the things they do without calling them basically disparaging names. But when we get into what goes on social media, we constantly see from the gaming media and these influencers that are given way too much freaking recognition, in my opinion. If I was anybody in the gaming industry, developer, publisher, hardware manufacturer, some of these dudes wouldn't even get a thumbs up tweet from me, for starters. Because a lot of these guys, like recently, Xbox leadership is a effing joke. The Xbox leadership is a bunch of dumb, ignorant mother effers. Phil Spencer needs to be fired. We just start going more and more down this toxic rabbit hole. And this is the gaming media and influencers alike doing this. And also the gaming media, I kind of have this article on my phone because I thought it was funny. So somebody tried to say Hi-Fi Rush was critically acclaimed. We know Aaron Greenberg came out and said that Hi-Fi Rush hit a lot of metrics, did a lot of great metrics, and really surprised Xbox on how well the game did in its metrics. Maybe it didn't hit the metrics that they were looking for because of, for starters, like somebody said, oh, Hi-Fi Rush was critically acclaimed. I'd really like to understand the critically acclaimed part of it, because there was actually one gaming media journalist website that actually knocked Hi-Fi Rush a point or two in their review score because it was an Xbox game and that Xbox wasn't releasing games fast enough. So Hi-Fi Rush got a negative review from them because of Xbox. It had nothing to do with Tango Games or Hi-Fi Rush. That's BS. We've seen influencers with Redfall go out and blow smoke up Arcane Austin's ass. Oh, this is a great game. And then when all the negative reviews for Redfall come out, they're back on their channel. Oh, I knew this game was going to be trash. I had a feeling I could see some issues with the game when I was playing it on their computer builds over there. And why didn't you tell them about it? What, if you see somebody's having a heart attack, hey, you don't look good, bro. Let's get you to the doctor. You see a building on fire. Hey, I think that building's on fire. Or, hey, something suspicious is going on over there. You didn't one time think that it was logical to, hey, I really feel you guys are going to be missing some targets on this game. But we also get articles from the gaming media, and this is from the exact same website, these two articles. This one right here, released April 30th, 2024. Fallout is already Amazon's second most watched show ever, proving Bethesda should have had a new game ready yesterday. Flash forward a couple days. Let's get here. Same. VG 24/7. May 8th, 2024. With the closure of Tango Gameworks, Xbox sends an accidental message. It's not a platform for fans of Japanese games. Well, let's really look at what the industry leader tells Xbox. The industry leader, PlayStation. Hey, we can lie to our customers about, PSN accounts and releasing game, giving free upgrade paths. We can lie and get away with it. We can shut down studios ourselves that make titles like Hi-Fi Rush, Prey, Redfall, and not get articles that lambast us for it. Instead, Sony wants to choose to chase these blockbuster banging games that generate like 8-9 figures of revenue. They don't want, like we saw it with the Concrete Genie developer. We've seen it with the Shadow of the Colossus developer over on the Sony side. Hey, get rid of these little low-budget peons. We need the Spider-Mans. We need the God of Wars. We need these titles that generate nothing but hype and revenue. We don't need this flexibility in gaming that Xbox is over here trying to sell, and and that Phil Spencer on Xbox is trying to say, hey, we're going to give our developers the ability to make the games they want to. Screw that. We want blockbuster titles that make an asinine amount of revenue and gets everybody and their grandmother and their frickin' dog too talking about our frickin' game. So the market leader, for starters, shows Xbox, hey, this is what you got to do. And then you've got the influencers saying, be like PlayStation. You got to do this. You got to do this like PlayStation. Do that like PlayStation. We need a third-person over-the-shoulder game like God of War on Xbox. All these, be PlayStation, act like PlayStation, develop like PlayStation, and then, finally, we've got the gaming media. PlayStation's the greatest things that slice bread. Hey, when we review that game, can you get it for us on PlayStation? Oh, the PlayStation, They provided game consoles for all of us. You know, you can see that the gaming media, PlayStation is their love child. For a large majority of influencers, PlayStation is the love child. PlayStation is the industry standard on how to be a hardware manufacturer, a game publisher, how to do marketing, all this stuff, right? Yeah, over-the-shoulder cinematic junk. Thank you. PlayStation,
Yeah, media has a lot of narrative control.
Exactly. So let's really think about it. Yes, Satya Nadella and the spreadsheet readers over at Microsoft canned 4 developers. Could we honestly say that the ammunition that they locked and loaded into that chamber was not provided by the media and influencers alike that are just totally dry humping Sony's leg and allowing Sony to basically establish an industry standard that everybody praises? But meanwhile, Hi-Fi Rush, a very innovative game from a very well put together developer at Tango Games. The game did not, it was a great game for people that were hardcore gamers. People in the casual market didn't know about it, didn't care about it. Same with Redfall. Redfall was a game that only the hardcore enjoyed. Those in the casual market, sorry, Mickey, this is where you're probably not fully casual because of it. But I think you got involved in Redfall because, you know, you're out there playing Redfall with me and Blue and Invader and all the other people that I hang out with. And I'm like, hey, let's play this game called Redfall. And you got sucked in. But, so.
And I liked the game. I thought it was cool too.
Right?
So, I mean, I liked it.
So it's more like everybody wants to try to say that this is all Microsoft's fault, when I really feel that just like the situation that happened with Helldivers 2, where Arrowhead Games and Sony were holding hands, making this stupid ass decision to sign the contract for that, same with what's going on with these 4 poor studios is the asshole influencers that trash a game for being 30 frames a second when your life is not going to be any effing different playing at 30 frames versus 60 frames. And don't give me the freaking motion sickness BS and all the other things that you're going to try to come out and defend your own mediocrity, because I'm so damn sorry. But if you're going to bitch about 60 frames a second, I better not ever catch your ass in a movie theater. Because you know why? Watching Star Wars, The Phantom Menace the other night, that movie looked like resolution hell on that screen compared to Blu-ray and 4K. But I didn't care. It was the experience. Mm-hmm. So, but that's where, like straight up, like, so let's really think about it. I am not defending Microsoft for doing this. I am morally trying to say that Microsoft is not alone in this situation. I really do feel that other people are hand in hand with Microsoft in this whole situation because of, oh, hold on. We got it. My bad. I don't want you guys to see my stupid ass freaking. There it is. Okay, never mind. It's just, I really do feel that the reason why these decisions were made is because why Xbox is like a year ago, Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg and Matt Booty said A, B, and C, and that they really didn't want to do this, that, and the other. That was a year ago. But we've had a year of shit talk, a year of flip-flopping between, oh, this game is great, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I knew the game was trash. I'm just saying that I really do feel at this point in time that what happened to these 4 studios is an unintended consequence of acting like an asshole from both influencers and gaming media alike. It's one thing to say, hey, Redfall, the game needs a little bit of work. It didn't come out at 60 frames a second like I really hoped. It's at 30 frames a second. The game is playable. There's some bugs that they need to fix. But there's a good structure to build a great community on in this game. Didn't see the articles like that. Instead, we got Xbox is trash. Xbox is destroyed Bethesda. Xbox has no control over Bethesda or Arcane. Arcane doesn't know what they're doing. The developers at Arcane suck. You're going down this whole path of, and that's what makes me laugh, is I confronted this is why I told you that story. I confronted an individual that acts like this every single day because he's a convict. But meanwhile, the people that believe that because they've never been in trouble a day in their life, that it's okay to act like this and to be completely asshole-ish in the way they talk to people and deliver stuff. And you can be critical, but the minute you start name-calling and lambasting people and acting like your opinion and the words that flop out of your mouth are gospel, no. And that's where I'm not going to say that Microsoft has their hands clean of their situation. I am more just saying that there's other people that have their hands in the cookie jar, that have their hands dirty in this situation too. And that is the individuals that create a massive following on the internet, from the gaming media to your favorite gaming influencer. And it all stems from the fact that you get more clicks and advertising revenue from tearing Xbox down in an disrespectful and unprofessional manner than doing it the opposite way.
Well, any type of negativity. Like for me, I mean, it's not just Xbox. I mean, it's anything for that matter. You know, it could be, you know, any system, anything like that. But it's, you know, it seems to be like the majority for Xbox. But you know, I'm gonna say, you know, the negativity for anything, for any console, any game, any of that stuff.
Well, dude, like I said, Hi-Fi Rush, classic example. Again, I'll say it. That gaming media review site, the gaming journalist site, literally put in their review, we would give Hi-Fi Rush a higher score, but because of Microsoft, because of how we feel about Xbox and the fact that they had a mediocre release cycle in 2022, we're actually going to hold back on giving Hi-Fi Rush a decent score to teach Xbox a lesson.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You just cost a bunch of people their jobs. Because why? The people in charge at Microsoft aren't charitable. They are super smart, ruthless individuals that know how to make decisions based off of a spreadsheet. They don't gauge metrics with their hearts. They don't call their wife and be like, hey, baby, what do you think I should do? They make calculated, tactical decisions based off of how the gaming media acts, how the consumer base reacts, and the consumer base reacts based on how the gaming media shapes this narrative of, essentially, you know, let's really face it. We have seen it that a lot of the gaming media would prefer if Xbox wasn't around and that PlayStation was the only thing, you know, going, because that would just make their jobs easier. And that's where it's sad to see that because of the narrative that is driven by like the internet click sites, both from the gaming media and influencers, essentially cost 4 studios to shut down because nobody gives a flying rat's ass, both from the land of influencers and the land of gaming media, about how much creative freedom Xbox gives their development studios, about how diverse the games that Xbox puts out. No, we get articles about how there should have been a Fallout game locked and loaded in the chamber, ready for the Fallout television show.
And not realizing that 76 is still out and they're still, building on that. That's goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where, that it's like, well, what did you expect? Some of the stuff that these guys do on the internet, whether you're a gaming journalist or an influencer, is downright like, I don't want to throw out the word bully, but let's just say it. We actually have seen incidents of gaming journalists actually threatening developers with bad reviews if they don't get a review copy. We've seen gaming journalists lambaste a game because it doesn't meet their political ideology. It's like the gaming media majority feels that they're the ones that are in control of the gaming industry and what they say should go. And that feeds right down to the bigger influencers. I've got 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. My opinion holds weight. No, you're just good at getting 100,000 people to listen to you. But you know what the funny part is? I've got very good critical thinking skills, and I have no problem forming my own opinion. And just because you have 100,000 subscribers doesn't make you right. Shit, dude. I know really great bullshitters that can capture the attention of a room, but everything that flies out of their mouth is absolute crap. But, yeah. And, thank you for joining us, Vanny. When Sony lays people off, everyone ignores it. Only Microsoft ruins gaming. Right. Exactly. And I love how, like, in one of the articles, they're like, last year alone, Microsoft laid off 10,000 people. In an Xbox article, when 800 to 900 of those layoffs were Xbox. The rest was over the entire breadth of the Microsoft umbrella. Microsoft is a $3 trillion company. They've got divisions everywhere. Most of those layoffs actually happen to deal with VR. And I'm going to say it right now. If you want to know how VR is doing, go ask Sony about the PSVR 2. Bump. So, and that's where I'm not, like, again, just to kind of like close this out. I am not trying to defend Microsoft. I am just trying to point out that there is other people involved that played a role in this, and it has to do with the shaping gaming narrative that surrounds PlayStation and Xbox and the major difference in how people treat the two different brands. But if you want to go on some tinfoil hat therapy, there was one thing that somebody said something to me, and we kind of we're like, because why did they shut down Tango Gameworks? Xbox definitely wants a presence over in Japan. We're seeing numerous articles come out and say that Xbox is cursed over there, what have you. But we've seen Xbox getting really buddy-buddy with Sega and Square Enix. If Xbox wants a stronger presence in Japan, in my opinion, shutting down Tango Gameworks was a bad idea, unless we are completely unaware of a vastly stronger relationship in a developer in Japan like Square Enix or Sega. So I'm going to be watching this cooperation between those two brands and Xbox very closely. And I swear, if I start seeing Tango Gameworks employees pop up either at Sega or Square Enix, I'm going to start being like, yo, right there. I see something going on over here. Look at it. So. So, yeah, Boba Fett. You know what the funny part is? I like Phil Spencer because he does come off as a gamer. He comes off as a realistic individual who really kind of understands the gaming industry. And when it comes to being a human being in the gaming industry, I really do feel that if Satya and the rest of the Microsoft executives made this decision against Phil Spencer's wishes, could we honestly say that maybe in the next couple years would we see Phil Spencer retiring and stepping away from the Microsoft brand because it doesn't fit in with his ideology of how he wants to treat developers? And yeah, you might see a different Xbox brand when Phil Spencer leaves, and it would be probably a very sad day the day he leaves. But also, what if there's a stronger relationship than we understand going on behind the scenes with a developer like Square Enix or Sega? So, yeah. And also, yeah, a lot of the talent did leave Tango Gameworks. Definitely. Like, we could sit here and critically think and discuss logical reasons all day long, all night long, but this is what pisses me off, that just because we're being logical about it, there's going to be those out there on social media tomorrow that like listen to this on the replay that are going to say that I'm over here defending mediocrity. I'm over here defending Xbox. No, I'm trying to point out that you're part of the problem, just like the Microsoft executives that grade and govern Xbox based on a spreadsheet. You grade and govern Xbox based on your personal preferences and your love and compassion for frickin' PlayStation. So, that's where everybody. It's been about 2 hours now here in about the next 10 minutes. We've been on here on 2 hours. Let's just close it out. I thank every single one of you for coming into the show tonight, chatting with us.
Thank you, everybody.
We
appreciate it.
This is actually the fun part. Like, if you want to be honest, I've been on plenty of podcasts. Anybody who's been keeping up with my channel knows I've been around the block on podcasts. I'm actually really digging what we got going on here. The interactivity that we got going on with the chat, the people that come in and chat with us. You guys really do matter. What you put into the chat gets read. We're not over here trying to do this to, be like, hey, join my Patreon, or, become a channel member, send me super chats. And
yeah, we appreciate the gamers that come in and just want to enjoy talking, and opinions and things like that.
And then also, to make a good joke, I love how all of a sudden, dude, this is another farce that influencers have, and also the gaming media. Microtransactions suck. Oh, by the way, can you please subscribe to my Patreon, sign up as a channel member, and send me a super chat? Microtransactions suck. Dude, Patreons, super chats, all channel members, that's all microtransactions. Tomato. And so, yeah, definitely thank you, everybody, for coming in and hanging out with us. I'm Phil, aka Centurion 1307. This is my brother Mickey. We're here every Wednesday night, basically having fun with you guys in the chat, just talking about games and just being real and down to earth. And that's what we do it for, man, is we just do it for the love of gaming. And, hope to see you guys out there on Hypercharge at the end of the month. Again, our party chats are always open. We're always open to game with other people, make new friends. And also, we're here every Wednesday night, 12 a.m. Eastern time right now. We're the really, really late show.
Sorry, guys.
We're like the really, really late show, but we're not doing anything too risque. As far as I know, Mickey is wearing pants.
Maybe not.
But all right, everybody, thank you for joining us. Until next Wednesday, everybody. Again, as we always try to leave off with saying, just play whatever you want, wherever the hell you want, no matter what anybody says. Form your own damn opinion.
Have fun doing it.
Yeah,
have
exactly.
fun doing it.
So thank you, everybody, and you guys have yourself a good night.
Have a wonderful night, guys.